Hi, I'm Ben,
And I'm Ernie.
and this is Budget Nerds.
What was all in your mind?
You are not alone.
No, you are not. And we are especially not alone today, Ernie, because we have all of you with us in the form of YNAB Wins. We're doing another full YNAB Wins episode today.
We did our first mega episode a number of months ago, and I was genuinely surprised by the response. I know that people like YNAB Wins, but I was like, oh, what are they going to think if we do an entire 30 minutes just highlighting YNAB Wins from the community? But you folks loved it, and you've been calling for another episode, so that's what we're going to do.
Would you guys rather us talk about how our backs hurt or something like that? Like you want to? No, you're into this, so I love to see it. So yeah, we have. I mean, how many wins do we have total on our list here? We got like 50 or something like that.
No, we're in the 60s.
Okay, we're in the 60s. So Ernie's found half of them and put them into groups. And we're going to try to knock out half of them in this episode. We'll see. I don't know if we're going to get through them.
I think we're going to do it. And this is for the folks. I don't know the dates, but my guess is these are wins from spring of 2023. Spring, summer, and fall.
So like a year ago at this point.
So yeah, if you've recently commented with a win or you emailed us directly, we're not going to get to it in this episode.
No, definitely not. So just go ahead and, dash that hope. but we will get to it for sure because we love every single one. So yeah, let's jump in. The first category, I guess, group of wins that we have is all about partners. Do you want to take the first one there, Ernie?
Yeah, this is from, how do I say that? Backy World? Bassy World?
Bassy World. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a comment. It's funny because if it's like a comment, then it's a weird name. But if it's an email, it's like an actual name. That's how it goes.
YNAB win. My partner is budgeting with me. And when we sit together, I can see the links on his transactions showing me he's inputting most of them. So proud.
Oh.
He's been telling people about YNAB, and it makes me happy.
I love
That's
that.
a huge win when your partner becomes a budget nerd, just like you. Mm-hmm. It's huge.
Yeah. If you have that little chain link icon next to when you import stuff, that you're a budget nerd. You've been entering transactions. So
and now you can both experience that together. I love it.
Exactly. All right. I got another username, which I can't say. Sago amicably. Anyways, 10 years with YNAB. And the biggest win was getting a newly married couple on the same page. We're hyper aligned with our short and long-term goals, and we spend money on things we value. And we don't spend money on things we don't value. That's so great.
Yeah, especially figuring that out so early in the marriage.
Oh my gosh. It makes such a difference, right?
Huge.
And just even knowing what you want, and knowing that together, I mean, you can go so far. It's so great. Love to see it.
The next partner win comes from Caitlin. My husband and I have been using YNAB since we got married in 2018, but managing how we spend fund money was always difficult and caused conflict. You guys convinced me to have a separate fund money category for each person a few years ago, and it's been going great. One recent change is that my husband has gotten into sports betting. We talked about it before he started, and I said he could spend as much of his fund money as he wanted, but no more. That has been a great strategy. He views it primarily as entertainment, not a way to make money, and so boundaries have worked great for him. This month, he made me laugh because he told me he was saving up for a new fancy kitchen cleaver with his sports betting earnings. He mostly just breaks even. The kick is he would have had enough for his cleaver if he took directly from his fun money category at the beginning of the month. But then he wouldn't have all that fun betting on the games he watches. Nice. And the best part about all of this is none of this impacts me or our budget in any way. And so I don't care if he bets on games. He has a lot of fun doing it, which makes me happy. Just a simple way YNAB helps our marriage. Just a note to say thank you for your wise words and encouragement. I love
Love
that,
that.
Caitlin. And I love the
Because how much of a conflict would it be if you didn't have that limit, you know?
right. That's what I love about those fun money categories is you can spend that money however you want, not feeling like you're going to throw a wrench in the rest of your plan. And then your partner doesn't have to worry about that your spending is going to throw a wrench in the plan either. It's just your money. You get to do whatever you want. And it's in a, an allotted amount.
Yeah, exactly. I do the same thing with playing poker with my buddies. You know, it's just my personal spending, and Kaylin doesn't care, so it's good.
Yep.
It's good. I mostly break even too. Well, maybe down a little bit. Well, it depends on the day, but there you go. All right. So that's our group about partners. We also have a group of wins, 2 wins, all about control, about more control over your money, which is a good thing. This one's from Katie, who wrote in an email. It said, "Hi, Ben and Ernie. I'm sort of a new listener this year. I was using YNAB on and off for a few years and sometimes listened to Jesse's podcast. It wasn't until recently I got more serious about it and found the satisfaction of a perfectly reconciled budget. I make seemingly good money in my job, but I get paid once a month, and everything used to come crashing down in the last week. I even took out a payday loan," they wrote payday in all caps there, "to get gas once. Was obviously not using YNAB at this time. I was a buy now, pay later fiend when I wanted a new thing. I'm embarrassed by the whole thing. How did I let it get that bad? I'm now back into YNAB. I listen to the podcast daily if I can, catching up on older episodes, just to keep my mind in the game." Ooh, I love that. "I was doing well, giving my money a job, planning for true expenses, and putting money on my old debt without restricting myself much at all. I recognize I am very privileged to be in this position. Then came the fun new thing I wanted. And since I had recently paid off my previous loans with a firm while using YNAB, they would easily cover the $800 I needed for the purchase. Past me would have just done it, financed it. But YNAB me said, just move money into the category and see how it feels." Ooh, I love that.
Find the money first, right? We just talked about that last episode.
And experimenting too, you know? And it felt terrible. I love that. I had pulled from my car repair category, vet expenses, vacation money, eating out, and that's when I realized I needed to save for it first. I didn't buy it with cash, nor a buy now, pay later scheme. I am waiting to fund it, and I feel so good, finally in control. I still want the thing, but when I do get it, it will feel fun and not terrible. Thanks, YNAB. Thanks, Ben and Ernie. Oh, man, I love that so much.
We could have just
So
read
good.
that win for our Find the Money First episode. It
I
sums
know,
it
right? We
all
should
up
have.
so perfectly. I love, she wanted to see how it feels, and it felt terrible by actually moving money from one category or a couple categories and putting it somewhere else.
And saying no to it right now, she still feels good about it because she
Yes.
knows why. She knows why.
Knows why.
You know?
That's huge.
You need to know why. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Love
awesome.
That. Love that. Thanks.
So we have another control win from Devin. "We are finally saving for Christmas in advance this year, putting away a little bit each month so that we won't spend what we don't have this December. So I'm actually looking forward to buying Christmas presents for all my family because the money's already been tasked with the job." What a dopamine hit. I get that one. It becomes fun to spend money that you have.
Yes. Yeah, it's almost like a little game, you know. That's really cool. I love they put a little exclamation mark there so that we don't spend what we don't have, exclamation mark.
You know, it's funny. These wins, they come through the same. There's capitalization everywhere. There's emojis. There are so many exclamation
they're
points.
just like there's so many feelings, you know?
But that
you got to express the feelings.
that is the YNAB community. I
Yes.
absolutely love it.
All right. Let's move on to our next group. We got 3 all about getting a month ahead. And I love this first one. Short and sweet. Monique 5545 said, "P.S. YNAB win a month ahead on home, fixed, and monthly bills." Love that. Yeah, that gives you an interesting thing where it's like you can celebrate little wins when it comes to getting month ahead. Like maybe you just got a month ahead on your monthly bills, and that's a huge thing. And then you get now I got a month ahead on my fun stuff and my monthly bills. Now I got ahead on my true expenses and my monthly bills and my fun stuff. You can celebrate every little chunk, and I think that's
I
great.
tell folks this all the time. Get a month ahead in stages, right? Even being a month ahead on just the bills alone is going to feel better than month ahead on nothing. So love
That's
that.
a lot of security. Yeah, love
My
that.
month ahead win is from Jen F. Hey nerds, I have a small YNAB win, which I anticipate being the first of many. This month is coming to a close, and I just received my last paycheck of the month. My heart sings just looking at all the green exclamation point.
Yes.
This is the first month in a very, very long time that I've been able to fund all my categories and have a little extra in my getting 1 month ahead category. I binge your show on YouTube all the time, totally acceptable, which has helped me so much. And I've recently attended a couple live Q&As as well. Thank you so much. I couldn't have done it without you, and look forward to more content from all you nerds at YNAB. Well, congratulations on all that green, Jen. I know that does feel great, and being that month ahead, a little bit more in there. Again, just kind of doing that in stages. That is fantastic.
Yeah. And I love you're going through so much content. Somebody else mentioned that too. Like just staying in the mindset, I mean, if you're new to YNAB, you can listen or watch or read YNAB content for the rest of your life every day, probably, because we got so much. So yeah, just keep in the mindset. It's good. All right. Sarah wrote in, I guess this is a comment. I'm not sure. Or maybe an email. Says, I am going to be having surgery in December, and I had enough vacation time and sick time to be paid a full month at regular pay before my short-term disability kicks in. Well, I found out yesterday that my company won't let me supplement my vacation time, meaning I'll only have 2 weeks at my regular pay before my short-term disability kicks in. My short-term disability is horrible, paying just $500 a week before taxes and benefits. But thanks to YNAB, I'm a month ahead, or a month and a half ahead. I have been saving for a few months, so I have a month's worth of expenses saved up just for surgery, and I have a small emergency fund. While I panicked for a few minutes, I took a deep breath, and I realized that I would be okay during my time out. Thanks to YNAB, I can focus on recovering and not about finances. Thanks, YNAB. That's so great. That what I love about that is like you did have that panic moment, and I think that's totally natural because you got some really bad news, right? But even so, you realize, okay, I took a deep breath, looked at YNAB, realized I was going to be okay, and now you're going to be able to get through it. Still have to deal with all the surgery. I'm so sorry that you have to deal with that, but at least you don't have a money problem on top of it. So really cool.
Able to focus on what matters. All right, let's get into some good old-fashioned debt paydown wins. This win comes from Celeste. I'm so proud to say that with YNAB's help, I've managed to pay off over $90,000 of student loans during the COVID forbearance period. I still have one more debt to pay down. Grad school tuition is no joke, but I can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. With YNAB's help, I've been able to pay this debt down way faster than I expected while still squaring money away for family fun. Thanks for reading, and I love the show. Congratulations, $90,000.
I know. And what was the forbearance period? That was like 2-3 years at most. Like, man, that is serious speed.
I came out in 2002 with $15,000 of student loan debt. And I felt like that was a lot. So when I see numbers like 90,000, I'm just like mind blowing.
It's still more to go too. So yeah, it's a lot, but they can do it. So that's so cool. All right. Lynn wrote in, said, I've been using YNAB for over 5 years, but until the last year or two, I was mostly using it as an expense tracker. I was also well over 60,000 in debt. I finally got serious about YNAB in 2021 and have tackled my debt to under 20,000, which, barring a major emergency thanks to my savings buffers, will be paid off in the next 10 months. In the meantime, YNAB also taught me to manage my credit card properly so I don't accrue more debt while still getting those sweet, sweet rewards. And I did this without sacrificing all my fun, hobbies, small vacations, and spoiling my dog. YNAB is just the best. Love it.
That is an awesome win. It's like you can have your cake and eat it too, right? I mean, I know that Lynn sacrificed a ton during that, so that's not actually the case. But a lot of times it feels that way because you're spending money on the things that matter to you, and you're still hitting all these other financial goals. It's the best of both worlds.
Exactly. So cool.
My debt win comes from Caleb. My wife and I are on track to pay off her car 3 years early. $10,000 original loan. And my car will be close behind, $14,000 left. I know it's relatively not much, but right now we are also 1 month ahead on our bills and living on just my income, which is right around $50,000 per year. While my wife starts a business to sell art that she creates. All of this without feeling like there is any scarcity or deprivation. Oh yeah, we also funded Christmas by October and got all the shopping done by Thanksgiving. That was so cool. Love the podcast, y'all. I binged all the Budget Nerds and Ask Jesse on Spotify, much to Jesse's chagrin, I'm sure, LOL. And I've started listening to Beginning Balance as well.
Nice.
Congratulations.
The trifecta.
And Caleb, I fully support binging all the podcasts. I mean, that's what I do. I get it. It makes sense. I don't know why Jesse thinks that is so creepy.
I mean, I get it. It's a little creepy, but like, why would I not want you to listen to my podcast? Like, I don't, like, come on. Oh man. Actually, I don't even really think it's creepy. I think it's great. All right. Next topic is clarity. Man, Ernie totally nailed it on all these topics. They're also YNAB. Okay. Allie wrote in, this is a bit of a longer one, so strap in. Allie said, first, this feels strange as I have never written to a show, podcast, etc. Most people haven't. But I feel that it would almost be unfair for you guys to not know the impact you just had on me. Oh, thanks, Allie. I've been staring down the barrel of financial ruin for the last few years for many reasons, not least of which is family trauma. And I've survived through a cycle of refinancing my debt every year. Even though I've been using YNAB for over 2 years now, it almost feels like I was getting worse. But that's not true. I was getting aware. Interesting. I know what she means.
We're both like,
you're like aware. Ooh. Which obviously is very confronting at the start, right? Financial difficulties took a serious toll on my mental health, my relationship, my quality of life, and sent me into the darkest place I've ever been. Wow. On top of that, for the last few years, I have been quite underpaid at work. While I'm a confident person in general, I was just never really on top of my numbers, nor a confident negotiator. But, okay, here's the but. So there's the hard stuff. Here's the but. 2 weeks ago, I had a moment of absolutely magical inspiration while listening to an episode of Budget Nerds while cooking dinner. I decided to completely ignore my current budget and build what would be my ideal budget by using YNAB, factoring in absolutely every possible expense, loan repayment, life aspiration, etc. And there it was. I knew exactly how much money I needed to be making to not have to live in constant fear and stress. Wow. Okay. That's amazing, right? I just love the experimentation. Okay. That number became my magic number. I knew exactly what to ask for at work and not accepting anything less. Mind you, I definitely deserve it based on my skills, experience, market rate, and what I have done for this company over the years. The outcome? It is with great joy that I can tell you that I got a 37% pay rise. Holy smokes. This week, effective immediately, with a further 19% promised by December this year, totaling a 56% increase. Wow. That is shocking. It's amazing. It is borderline fantasy that I managed to pull this off, and I did put everything on the line. I am writing this email as I had just put my ideal budget officially into effect in YNAB. Awesome. Hit all my targets with a little spare money to put towards a holiday. I couldn't stop tearing up as I was doing it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Not just you, Ben and Ernie, but especially you two. But to Jesse, Hannah, and every single person in the YNAB team, as I know how much it takes to bring a solution like this to life. You guys are literally lifesavers, and I mean the word literally, literally. I wish you all the best, and I hope this email at least puts a smile on the face of whoever reads it. It certainly put a smile on my face, Allie. What a story, man. I need to write a blog about this. I'm gonna hit up Allie soon because that's so amazing. Like, okay, I love the experimentation. You made an ideal budget that actually inspired you to ask for more at work, and you got it. And then you actually like just took that experiment budget that you thought could never happen and made it happen.
Yeah.
And actually, that's now you made the ideal budget, and now that's your budget. That's your life. I mean, so cool. I love
And
to see
just
it.
thank you for sharing that with us and with the community.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm touched. Folks write in, and you don't have to always write in a lot. There's nothing wrong with writing in a couple sentences, but some folks, they share quite a bit about what's going on, and that's really touching.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. We're going to go to Justin. Again, we're talking about clarity here. I'm so glad I found YNAB and your pod. I found YNAB just over a year ago after leaving my professional field of music and taking a quote-unquote day job as a small business bookkeeper. As I was learning an accounting database software for my work, I quickly realized that while I used zero-based budget for our family finances, my Google Sheets system left much to be desired. After much research, I landed on YNAB as it seemed to have the closest philosophy to our own with plenty of flexibility. My YNAB win is that now I have a full year of data to produce a new budget template. In that time, YNAB helped me steer our family's financial ship through a new baby, acquiring a business, and switching jobs yet again, back into my field of music. Nice. Compared to my Google Sheets system, YNAB has helped our finances stay more up to date and accurate in less time every single month. I found the pod a few months ago and quickly caught up on every episode in the feed. I love getting ideas to put my YNAB ideas to up my YNAB game, and weirdly, it's helped me to own budgeting as a hobby. Totally get that. Thanks for all you do. Yeah, you're absolutely welcome, Justin. Congratulations on that win. We hear this all the time, right? Folks are able to juggle all these different things, like accomplish this goal and that goal and chase after this dream. And YNAB makes it all not that it makes it happen, but it allows you to juggle it. Yeah. And it does it in less time. Like, that was cool to hear.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that Justin became a business bookkeeper and then it went from, and then like left their spreadsheet. I feel like that's the opposite of what you'd expect. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? But
I'm going all in on spreadsheets.
Right. But it's good because, maintaining those things it's a lot of work, on top of everything else. So if you can get something that like YNAB that has a philosophy behind it, that works, I think it's great. All right. Kieran has a long one here.
Sorry, Ben, you're getting all the long ones. You can always defer to me if you want.
Okay. I'll read this one. It's good. My voice is still a little messed up from the flu like 3 weeks ago, but I think I'm hanging on. If I have to cough randomly, you'll know why. Okay, Kieran says, I love your show, and listening to your budget wins inspired me to write and share our YNAB story. I have very close friends who got themselves into trouble back in the day with a rogue electricity account, and they decided to make some big changes to their lives. They started using YNAB. These two took their budgeting very seriously. They attended a short finance course and using YNAB managed to get out of their electricity bill mess and are now, to this day, still avid YNABers who live and spend freely within their budget. My friends and I are very close, and I thought YNAB sounded so brilliant. A short time later, my now husband and I started talking budgeting, and we wanted to start taking control of our finances. We decided to take out a shared YNAB account, and we set up our own budget. Our friends ran us through the basics. We watched a few of Ben's videos, and we tried out the 30-day free trial. We loved it. At the time, and coming from South Africa, the full free year felt quite pricey, but we decided we were committed, and we took out an annual subscription. This was November 2019, and honestly, YNAB revolutionized our lives. I will never miss an opportunity to tell someone about it if budgeting or money talk comes up in conversation. And another one of my friends and her husband now also use YNAB. When my now husband and I got married in 2021, we started a new combined budget, and we often say how we don't know how we lived without YNAB before. I feel that. In April 2020, everyone at my place of work got salary cuts because of COVID. Ouch. It wasn't great, but my husband and I knew we would be okay because we knew that we could adapt our budget and plan accordingly. Yes, that's so good. Like, even when bad things happen, you have the skills to deal with it, right? In September of 2020, I had quit my job for personal reasons and I started working for myself. Things were still so unstable because of the pandemic and client payments were so unreliable and sporadic. If it were not for YNAB, we would have no way to forecast or to plan. We knew exactly how much money we had and the date we would run out of money if payments didn't come through. That's really powerful. It helped us plan and spend differently as a result. It was tight for a while, but we managed. We were able to pay our wedding. Oh, awesome. Pay for our wedding in March of 2021 and plan for car services, go away for a few weekends, etc. We have been working so hard. We build up our age of money and we recently got to our goal of 6 months forecasted. This was a huge milestone for us. We gave ourselves each a high five. We also celebrated quit paying off my husband's apartment, and we have started working on the apartment I own and living together. YNAB has given us so much financial freedom. We are quite strict with our finances, but we are able to plan holidays or go out for dinner or treat ourselves to some new clothes, all within reason, and still reach our goals. So thanks to YNAB and your team. With the exchange rate, paying in dollars is something that can get quite expensive, but we really believe it's so worth it. And our YNAB subscription even has a line item in our budget that we save for monthly so that we don't have to worry where we find the money each November. Oh, thank you so much, Kieran. And even, yeah, no, I love that even if you're in a different economy, you can still make it work. And that's really great to see.
And it was a really small part, but just excited or hoping that money comes up in conversations. I mean, that's a true YNABber, right? Everyone else, they're hoping money doesn't come up. But when you're a YNABber, you're like, oh, please just say budget or money or something so I can jump in and tell you all about YNAB.
Yeah, it's funny. I think because I work at YNAB, like I'm a little more hesitant than some people to like talk about it.
Yeah.
But like I have friends that will like jump in for me. they'll talk about it. So it's funny. It happens all the time.
All right, we are now moving on to the stress reducing wins. My win comes from Sohini. Do you think that's how I say it? Sohini?
Yeah, that sounds right to me.
I'm a longtime listener, first time writer. I've been using YNAB for our family budget since 2017, and I love how it reduces stress around irregular expenses that pop up. I just experienced this with our car this morning and had to write in. I took the car in for a standard oil change and tire rotation. When the mechanic said a staple was in one tire and it needed to be replaced to deal with the ensuing slow leak, instead of feeling frustrated, I asked, do any of the other tires need replacing? Because I knew we had the money set aside in our auto maintenance category to take care of all four. We just needed the one replaced for now. I had an extra nice drive home, feeling safe and knowing I still have money for future repairs. All thanks to YNAB. Love that.
Nice.
This reminds me of the episode we did a little bit ago on true expenses of what we talked about, how you to actually embrace them. Sure, it's never fun spending money on those things, but you're able to reflect and be like, okay, I'm really glad that I was able to do this. I was able to keep up with a safe vehicle. And I get it, being able to drive home, feeling safe, and just knowing that you have money still set aside for those future repairs. That is huge.
Yeah, it's nice. I feel like that saves you time. Like this is like just a little thing about cars and life. Like if you replace like one tire, you ever had that where like you replace one tire and then like later you replace another and you feel like you're always replacing tires? It'd be nice to just replace them all at once and they all wear out at the same time. Yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of a nice thing that you can do if you have
Absolutely.
Money for it, so. All right. Veronica says, I have to start by saying that I love the Budget Nerds videos and have watched them since the beginning. I started YNAB in January 2020, and it was a tremendous help during such an uncertain time. Our big initial win was paying off our mortgage in December 2020. Wow. Okay. However, I never got in the habit of checking the budget before making purchases. Since then, I have struggled with feeling like the way I use YNAB is wrong because I'm just tracking spending and not totally sticking to spending under a certain limit for my categories. After listening to the "Don't Waste Your Time on These YNAB Practices," that's one of our really popular episodes, I think. I realized that my YNAB win is using YNAB for so long, which allowed me to get far enough ahead in budgeting my true expenses that I'm at a point where I don't need to look at my budget before purchases because I know I have the funds to cover it and can wham or assign money afterwards when I reconcile. Thank you for showing me that I'm not using YNAB wrong or doing it incorrectly. I just have saved a large enough cushion that checking it before each purchase isn't always needed. This has allowed me to feel less guilty about how I currently use YNAB, and I realize that I'm just further along in my financial journey. Ooh, love that one, Veronica. Yeah, you're not using it wrong. It's okay. It's all right. You're further along in the journey, and you don't have to be so tight, and that's okay. I love that.
All right, another win, stress reducing from Sarah. This is a YouTube comment. My pay was 4 days late due to a glitch with the payroll system. I almost feel guilty saying that it didn't affect me at all because I know not everyone is as fortunate as me to have found YNAB. It didn't affect me at all because I no longer live paycheck to paycheck. Thank you, YNAB.
That's really good.
We hear about those situations all the time. Something happened with payroll. There was a reduction in pay, whatever the case, that money isn't coming or it's the expected amount isn't there. And a lot of times YNABers can be like, all right, that's okay. I've got plenty of time to work with here. I've aged my dollars. We can make a plan moving forward.
Yeah, that's really great. Why don't you take the next one? It's a long one. Since you said you could take a long one.
I didn't plan it out this way. You just happen to get all the long ones.
It's just like every other.
Okay, I'm going to take Nate's. I just discovered you guys thanks to the YNAB algorithm. My wife and I are longtime YNAB users. She got me into it and then mostly stepped back. But I basically used it to track expenses, especially for tax purposes. I'm a freelancer and my income is very spiky year over year or even month over month. This was never a problem until early this year when I lost several clients due to economy fears. And I realized, we both realized, that we needed to actually use YNAB for real. I tossed out my old budget that was basically just tracking expenses and made a new budget starting in June of this year and immediately dropped our monthly spending by around $1,000 to $1,500.
Whoa, that's pretty intense from one month.
Right. Wow. Just by increasing the awareness. We went full austerity mode, hard with a kid, but you guys know about that. Totally. But we did well and still managed to have fun. We're slowly getting back on track, setting attainable goals, paying down a higher interest auto loan, getting back on track with IRA, SEP, IRA contributions. In October, I discovered Nick True's video on using Profit First and using Profit First in YNAB. So it dawned on me that I should use a completely separate YNAB budget for my business. I'm now more able to even out the spikes, as I call them, by paying myself a fixed salary each month that will be enough to meet my family's obligations and goals, but also cover my business expenses months in advance. It's a fantastic feeling. As I was diving deep into that process, I stumbled upon Budget Nerds, and now I'm devouring all your older content and catching up as well. You guys have such a great vibe, and there's just been so many little nuggets in your content that I hear in the background that have clicked. Anyway, apologies for the long email. No apologies, Nate.
No apologies.
But the short of it is I finally buckled down with YNAB, reduced my honestly crippling financial anxiety, and now have a real set of goals that I can achieve in both the short and long term. Nice. Congratulations. So much going on there. The family side, the business side.
Right, yeah.
And, we hear this one a lot too. I feel like I've said that a number of times, but there's these themes that are constantly coming back. And one of them is there's just this ebb and flow of using YNAB or paying attention to your money. And I think a lot of times folks think like you always have to be on top of your game, like going 100%. But one, that's just not realistic. And that's not how everyone does it either. it's okay if you have those seasons where you step away from YNAB. It happens. It's natural. And the great thing is you can just come right back and pick it up, make a fresh start, create a brand new budget. And then you instantly gain that clarity, right? Just like Nate was talking about.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, everybody's in different stages of their YNAB journey. And I think it's really common to kind of use it and then like buckle down when something happens, and really change your life. And on the business side, I love that you found a way to just make it more predictable, like just a certain amount coming out of your business. I mean, not every business can do that, just especially if it's like early in the business, but that's great. I've seen Nick True's Profit First in YNAB video. Great. If you have a business, you got to watch that because it's really great. Because I think the Profit First system is awesome, but like the first thing they tell you to do is like go out and open like 5 bank accounts, right? And like I would, I don't want to do that. But with YNAB, you have categories and you can basically have accounts in there, so it makes it a lot.
And
easier.
remember, we have a video on Profit First as well. We had that interview with Laura. Our team
right.
member.
Yeah. Both would be good because Nick will show you like real practically how to do it, and then you'll see an example with Laura, and I think that'd be really great. Rachel D'Ambra. Okay, anyways, I'm just gonna.
That's a YouTube comment.
Rachel wrote in. Oh, and this is a new section all about confidence. So let's see this. Rachel said, about 2 years ago, I went ahead and purchased a $1,000 laptop. I remember asking the question, can I afford this? Scariest question in the world, right? Yes, I had the money in the bank, but I still had that nagging thought. Now with YNAB, I understand the question I was really asking was, do I have enough dollars with no other jobs, unemployed dollars, free to purchase this laptop? I feel so much more confident now, and I know exactly what I can afford, keeping in mind all my major life savings goals with like a down payment, new car, etc. Thank you, YNAB. By the way, I never thought I would ever listen to a budgeting podcast, but here we are. You guys are awesome. I know, right? Like you never think that you'd become nerdy about something like this, but you do. We all do. Love that. Yeah, just being able to answer that question, can I afford this with confidence? Every single time. That's what YNAB gives you.
Game changer. My confidence win comes from Nick. Fall is always a test of my discipline because I'm a tech enthusiast. And this is time of year that so many tech companies launch new products. In the past, I've used monthly payments or money from other savings goals to purchase gadgets, and it always left me feeling kind of gross. This year, I planned ahead and set a savings target for the inevitable new gadget. Predictably, a new phone was announced, and I was torn. It was truly not that different than the phone I already had, but I was really tempted by it. After a few days of considering, I bought it. Not because I needed it or I deserved it, but simply because I wanted it. I budgeted for it, and I had also budgeted for all of my other needs. I could actually afford it. And to me, that's a good enough reason. Yeah, to me, that's a good enough reason as well.
Yeah.
Thanks to YNAB and the me from last year, I was able to treat myself to something I enjoy without feeling gross.
Love it.
Love that.
Yeah, Jesse's talked about this a few times in his podcast. Like, I want it is a good enough reason
Absolutely.
to buy something. You don't have to justify everything with like, I remember, one time, I was getting a new car because I wrecked my old one, and it was a new to me car, and I was a teenager, right? I was shopping with my dad, and I was like, I think I really want a manual transmission. And I was like, I think I talked to a friend had talked me into it. I was like, like you can, you have more control over like how much gas you use and you do all this stuff. And my dad was like, and also you're just a guy and you think it's cool. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty much it. And it did make me look cool, but sometimes just like just wanting it is a good enough reason, and that's okay. I also love that Nick created a category for an unknown gadget purchase that would inevitably come up. He just knows. I just feel like that's such self-awareness. And that's so fun.
And I love that he thanked me from last year. I say that all the time when explaining true expenses, right? You are thinking about future you. You are taking care. You're being kind to that future person. And it's so true, because when that time comes, it's like, hey, I can buy this thing. And I've got money set aside for my needs and my other wants. It's all good.
Yeah, I love that. All right. Let me grab Kai, who said, I guess this is in an email. My parents cut me off financially when I decided to drop out of college. Previously, they were paying for almost everything in my life, and we cut ties completely when I came out to them as non-binary. Oof. YNAB has helped me feel financially secure, even as I lost a major support system. And a year later, I just got a raise at my job and I'm thriving. Awesome, Kai. Now, I also had a huge leg up with the fact that I was able to build savings in college. Plus, I didn't have any student loans. My dad makes more than $250K a year, and I was perfectly happy to spend it when I was the child he wanted. Oh. But YNAB has also been a contributing factor that I'm very glad to have. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, Kai, for sharing. I know that's really personal and a lot of pain there for sure. But I'm glad you're doing okay, even though you've lost a lot. Yeah,
Thriving.
Thriving, indeed.
Love that.
Love that.
All right, we're going to move on to the simplify theme. So we have a win from Julianne. I'm a longtime YNABber, but one of the things I'd held on to from before YNAB was having lots of individual savings accounts. After an episode of Budget Nerds where you discussed simplifying bank accounts, I decided to try making a category group with separate categories for each of my savings goals, similar to the Wish Farm. Then I moved the money out of all the 1% interest accounts to the one account that was getting 2%. And I thought that was a major win. Well, I just learned today that all my money is actually getting 4%.
Oh, all right.
Because combining it bumped the balance up to the next tier. This was an unexpected second win from my one simple change. If I hadn't been listening to Budget Nerds, it would never have occurred to me to change anything, since all those savings accounts were free with my online bank. And my matchy heart, is still satisfied because the bank account balance still matches YNAB, whether you compare the whole balance of the category group or each individual savings goal to its category. Thanks for this great tip. Can't wait to hear what you will teach us next. I'm so glad that you were able to simplify. Having less accounts is so much, it's just a better way to go. And you're still able to satisfy the matchy heart.
The matchy. That's one thing I love about, YNAB and our philosophy. Like we have we're telling you, don't do the matchy, just stop it. But it's fine if you are it's chill.
Right. And I guess, I mean,
if it makes your heart happy, go for it.
I ditched the matchy game real soon, early on in my YNAB journey.
It took me a while. Yeah.
And I guess maybe compared to other people, it did take me a while. But I was able to ditch it and I never looked back. Maybe it's because I just never actually had a matchy heart. I wasn't a true matchy YNABber.
I guess not. Yeah. If you have a matchy heart and you want to do it, you can do that. It's okay.
Man, I love that.
It's like achy breaky heart.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah, did you think that's it? All right. Rebecca also has something along the lines of simplifying. Rebecca said, I'm a little bit obsessive. Sounds like a YNABber. And not just with tracking, but also playing with and tweaking my budget, my categories, reconciling daily, etc. And since 2018, I have been obsessed with attempting to make the targets for each category as close as possible to the yearly average spent on each category. Oh, okay. And spend way too much time assessing, adjusting, tweaking, and cursing when it doesn't work out. And I have to adjust the target again. That's really funny. It got to the point where I would go back not just months, but years to find where I last updated a target to change it So it would be closer to what the current average is for the month I was in at a time. Okay, too much. It's too much, Rebecca. I'm going to go ahead and say it. But I had, okay, so here it is. But I had an epiphany last year. It suddenly occurred to me that it doesn't matter anymore if my target is as close as possible to the yearly average because we are not living paycheck to paycheck anymore. That's interesting. If a bill is a little lower one month, I don't need to fixate on saving the extra cash in that category for the next 6 months in case I go over the average. And if the bill is a little higher one month, I don't need to figure out how I could have made the target better to cover the extra because we have money now. I can relax and stop obsessing. So many people have this misconception that budgeting will be stressful. But I can tell you from my experience that knowing I can pay my bills and having the luxury of being able to pay them the same day I get them is the biggest stress reliever of all. I love YNAB. Wish I could get everyone to use it. I love this. Yeah, because you could get a little obsessive, maybe a little, fixate on things a little bit. But I mean, yeah, me and Ernie get it. And then, yeah, sometimes that's what that episode, the stop wasting your time on these YNAB practices, that's what that's about. It's like, at a certain point, it's like, it's okay. You don't have to fixate. And I just love this story. It's cute, but like also like, it's like a cute story because it's funny, but it's also, there's something deeper going on because I think Rebecca, she probably would say that she was acting out of anxiety here and realized that she doesn't have to feel anxious. And so she could let go of some of those practices. And yeah, it's a healthy thing for sure.
Yeah, this was really enlightening because as your financial situation changes, that financial mindset can stay the same. Mm-hmm. And that's why when I first came to YNAB, I was also obsessing over all the videos and the podcast too, because it made me continually think about my mindset. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't necessarily learning anything new, but it was just helping me self-reflect, changing those mindsets to adapt to the new circumstances that I had. So congratulations, Rebecca.
Love that.
From Austin, hello, Bert and Ernie.
Did you do that on purpose, Austin?
Absolutely. I love it. I love it.
Love it.
Before YNAB, I was implementing the same principles as YNAB using the vaults in my SoFi savings account and a credit card payment vault. So my system was when a paycheck landed, it would be automatically split among all the different vaults. Mm-hmm. Then as I was spending money, after the purchase, I would move the money from the spending vault into the credit card vault.
Oh boy.
Then when it was about time for a credit card payment, I would just pay it from the money in the credit card vault.
You really were doing YNAB in SoFi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't hear that from many people.
Right.
I was even saving up for true expenses like a biannual insurance bill, annual subscriptions, etc. The system of YNAB by SoFi vaults worked great until I ran into a little problem. SoFi only supports 20 vaults in an account. When I went to create a vault to save up to go see my brother's graduation in May, I couldn't open a new vault. This led me to do a search for a dedicated budgeting app. In the end, it came out to be between YNAB and Monarch Money. YNAB was the winner for me because it operated on the same basic principles as I was already using rules 1, 2, and 4. YNAB is saving me time in terms of not having to move money around between vaults regularly. Mm-hmm. I have also closed most of the vaults and am now using YNAB to track the budget. However, I'm still keeping some vaults for big amounts of money that I would like to be earning interest independently, like emergency fund or the money for insurances. YNAB is also allowing me to have more than 20 categories in my budget. Yeah, totally, Austin, you can have as many categories as you want. And I'm so glad that YNAB has been able to simplify your finances because I got tired just thinking about spending money and then going into SoFi and transferring all it to all the different vaults. I mean, obviously, You're willing to do that. I would have been willing to do it if I didn't know about YNAB, if I had a system that I knew worked, but you found a system that worked and was able to save you time. That's awesome.
I love that they were doing it even down to every time they make a credit card purchase, moving it to a credit card vault. I mean, imagine like having to do that and then having it happen automatically for you. Like that would make a big difference. So that's huge. Love that. All right, Jess wrote in, and this whole section we got like 4 or 5 on priorities, just discovering what's important to you, right? So Jess said, I've recently become a hardcore budget nerd. I'm talking watch every video, listen to every podcast, check the budget daily type of budget nerd. I don't want to sound dramatic, but it has changed my family's lives. Prior to having a budget, we were able to pay our bills and have a bit left over, but it always felt tight. And there was always an air of stress when it came to finances. Now that we are planning a job for each dollar, the stress is gone. Additionally, because I have been in the budget more, I started researching other financial topics I had previously thought were out of reach for only for finance people. We realized we were heavily overpaying for a life insurance policy that didn't make sense for us, so we canceled it and got about $9,000 back that we had contributed. Because we weren't counting on this money, we were able to use it to get ahead on a month and have some fun with it. After that huge win, we decided to move some money into a high yield savings account and have already earned about $20. Nice. Which isn't a ton, but it seems like free money. I mean, it kind of is. That's all money we never would have seen had it not been for YNAB. Then after that win, I was offered a raise. And because my confidence was so solid, I negotiated an even higher raise. Hey, that's cool. We're planning on using this extra money to contribute to some savings goals and bump up our generosity categories. I'm not saying YNAB will make you rich or that it got me a raise, but it does seem like all these things have snowballed into a lot of wins lately. I also kind of got into a gamification mode where I was getting random extra money. I negotiated a cash refund on a canceled flight. I found some unclaimed money with my state and my name. Oh yeah, definitely do that. Search that up. That's a thing. We canceled some unused subscriptions, and all that was fueled by my motivation I had gained through working in YNAB. So all this to say, thank you. My very favorite part of all this isn't that I feel rich. It's that my husband and I are able to align our money with our values. We can donate more per year because we planned for it. We aren't scrambling to make our ends meet and then have none left over for others. We've been able to switch mindsets and have plenty for others and what's left over, which is now a significant amount is for us. Our dreams and goals feel so much more attainable just because we're taking actionable steps toward reaching them. YNAB is truly the best, hands down the best $99 I've ever spent. Thanks, Jess. Yeah, it just kind of changes your mindset, where you just kind of have more confidence to kind of move around in the world. I think that's what it is. Like you're expressing yourself in the world more fully, more confidently. And a lot of that is because of the skills that you've built up just by going through this. So love that.
Yeah, love that, Jess. My win comes from Macy. Because of YNAB, I have been able to accomplish two very important goals: moving out and owning a dog.
Nice.
After college, I had to move back in with my parents due to the pandemic. This was also when I started my first full-time job. I had more money coming in than ever and had no idea what to do with it. I had a lot of goals and wants, but I could never get a handle on how to save for these long-term goals. And I felt like my spending was out of control. I even switched banks so I could open 10 different savings accounts in an effort to organize my money. Finally, I found YNAB. I was skeptical about paying for a budgeting app, but now I can't imagine living without it. It helped me organize my money in a way that made sense to me. This is what I had tried and failed to do with those 10 savings accounts. I can't quantify how much money it has saved me, worth every penny. With YNAB, I was able to save up enough money to get a puppy and move out.
You did it.
I was even able to loan my roommate 2 months' rents and her half of the deposit, even though I had just taken a new job with a huge pay cut. I can't wait to work on my next goals, buying a new to me car with cash and funding a bougie trip to Europe. Sounds amazing. I love y'all's podcast. Keep up the great content.
Love it.
Yeah, absolutely love that, Macy. Moving out and owning a dog. And now I know you didn't say much about the dog, so I think you need to follow up.
Yeah, we need to hear more about the dog. We need pictures.
Give an update on the dog.
Yeah, we need all that. So
that's fantastic.
Good for you, Macy. All right. I got Miss Candy Clash. That's a YouTube handle. Wrote a comment, said, I made a big cross-country move and didn't need to go into debt for it. Started YNAB a little over a year ago, was totally overspending, in debt, and knew I wanted to make this move. Made a goal to pay off the debt and save for the move to move debt free. Having those big goals really makes it more concrete what you are not overspending for. Now that I don't have a big goal, I have some more flexibility in my budget, but a lot of those overspending habits are built in now. Yeah, I love that. You got to have a goal, it makes everything, well, you have a reason why you're going out or something, so I love to see that. That's really cool.
Again, we're talking about priorities here. So the priorities win comes from Ivan. I'm a longtime YNABber, but yet to perfect it. That being said, I had a huge win for me. I'm a healthy earner, which sometimes gets me in trouble with frivolous spending because I can. I have been on a search for a new car and wanted to go electric and get something a bit nicer. I'm typically a bit thrifty on the car payment. I put a $100 deposit on a car 1.5 years ago, knowing it would be a long wait. I decided since the payment would be higher, I would start a budget category to contribute towards the down payment. I kept on inching that target up to get used to the larger payment. Yeah, this is what we recommend to folks all the time. Like, just pretend like that expense is actually real right now.
Right.
Fast forward, and my car is arriving, costing more than I expected. I freaked out a bit since it's considerably more. My wife pointed out we have $8,000 in the budget plus the $1,500 we gave the dealer already.
Okay.
That will cover taxes and the electric install at the house. My target savings for new far plus my old car payment actually exceeded the current car payment, and I can reduce the gas budget significantly. So net, I can pay out of pocket in cash, and the much higher car payment actually results in savings in my budget. What a relief.
Interesting. Yeah. That's awesome.
And I love this about YNAB in that you can create a plan.
Right.
It's not just, I'm going to do this thing and I'll figure it out later on. You can have that plan going in eyes wide open of what's coming down. And that just allows you to adjust, because whether it's a new car or, you're remodeling your bathroom right now, Ben, whatever the case, these big things, there's always going to be a curveball thrown your way, and you need to be able to adjust.
For sure. We'll probably have a whole episode about my bathroom at some point. But yeah, and it's not just that you can make a plan, you can like live in that plan for a little while, like really experiment and see how you feel and see if it's something you want to do. All right, Ken wrote in and said, like Ernie, I tried YNAB a couple times before and couldn't get it to work right, and just said, this is dumb software. Yeah, I get it. I have started over quite a few times as being a forecaster and a saver for 30 years probably. It's a mindset shift. It is a mind shift. But each time I learned more things from you or attended workshops. So on the 24th of November, they know exactly the day, 24th of November, I started the More Money Challenge. I didn't do it as you stated. I kept the dining out lower, but still active. I really hit my drink category. So for my projection in mid-November, if I kept this up the same pace, it was $1,750 and some natural weaning off, and the MMC More Money Challenge, I ended up at $1,350 for November. For mid-December, I was on pace for $1,100 in drinks, and will end up with about $850. But I'm going to keep these habits and saving money hacks and tricks I learned in the More Money Challenge, and my current pace, if kept through January, will be from about $250 to $300 in drinks. I've always wanted a master's degree, as my whole family has them but me, so I can go back to school and spend the savings on school. Hey, that's really cool. Yeah, and that's one thing. Like, you're doing a More Money Challenge or any kind of spending challenge, you can tweak the rules for yourself and see what you want to do. And it sounds like you made huge progress there, so that's awesome.
Yeah, and I love hearing how YNAB then trickles into other areas of life.
Totally.
Health and family, education.
Yeah, I've heard from people who said like, I quit smoking because of YNAB because I saw how much it was costing me. And that was a motivator.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah.
All right, folks, we are down to 2 more wins. And the theme now is saving. This win is from Becky. I started my free trial of YNAB in April 2023, and I love it. However, I'm still learning as I go and continuing to make improvement to my budget. I knew I had been underestimating my true expenses and wanted to improve on that, but I felt paralyzed with knowing how much to realistically allocate to house, car, pets, and other. I finally just said to myself, I'm starting a true expense category. I funded it at the end of December, and sure enough, early in January, I had already pulled from it, and I was thankful to myself to putting the money there. That was my YNAB win. Here are the rules. I have an exceptional fun category, and that is fun stuff I want to say yes to, but I need a little wiggle room. The true expense categories is different. That is for when it's not my fault more money is needed. Water bill higher than expected, vet bill higher than expected, something broke in the house and we need to replace it. And I'll see how this goes for a while, and I may be able to further categorize the true expense funding to specific categories in the future.
Nice.
Congratulations, Becky. I get that where sometimes you're like, oh, I don't know how much to contribute, so it's really tough to start. You just got to start.
Yeah.
Just start doing something.
It's going to be more than
Figure
nothing.
out, or any kind of amount.
I think,
right. It's better.
yeah,
better than nothing.
I think Erin said that.
And then you
like,
would,
it's going to be more than zero. So save more than zero. At least.
Yep. And then you just adjust along the way, right? You figure it out.
And then you got to adjust again because it changes. So we learned that the past few years for sure. All right. Diane wrote in and said, while listening to one of your podcasts, subscriptions came up. That reminded me that I had forgotten to deal with my fitness subscription. And yes, it is used. The auto renewal had been sent to my credit card several days ago, and my bank sent me a fraud alert at 3:06 a.m. Obviously, I did not respond for hours and the charge was denied. And I knew that I needed to reach out to the vendor, but kept forgetting. Because your podcast triggered the memory and my brain was in budget mode, I called the vendor, explained what happened, and asked if there were any specials they could give me before they do the renewal. I ended up saving $139. So thanks, guys. I get to reassign those dollars now. Love that. That's fun. Yeah, sometimes if you just ask, maybe you might get a little something. So that's pretty special. I kind of love that because if it hadn't been denied, you wouldn't have talked to somebody on the phone and you wouldn't have gotten that deal. So it's kind of an opportunity. You took it, and that's really neat. All right.
There we go, folks. I think we're coming in right around 60 minutes, 31 more wins for you.
Yeah.
And if this triggered or brought to mind a win of your own, something you want to share with us, don't hesitate to put that in the comments. Otherwise, you can email us directly, budgetnerds@ynab.com.
Yeah. I also wanted to give a plug. We have a form that you can fill out if you want to tell a little bit more about your YNAB story, and if you're comfortable with us sharing that, and probably maybe like a social post or a blog or a video, let us know. There is a link in the description to a form that you could fill out. And that's just a place where, if we ever need, like, we're looking for a story about somebody who, got a dog, I don't know, whatever it is. We'll put it in a database and we'll look it up and we'll be like, yeah, I'm going to write about this, and we'll let you know when we're writing about it. And yeah, so you can definitely email Budget Nerds, but also if you want to tell a little more of your story or even send some pictures or things like that, that form is a good place to do it. And the whole team will take a look and use your story and inspire more future YNABers that way. So
yeah,
we'll see it.
They are very inspiring to other YNABers, very impactful. I've just started using some of these stories in workshops.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I feel like they just go that extra mile.
Yeah.
Sure, you're saying that, Ernie, because you're the teacher, blah,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. But then I can bring in these other YNABers. Here's what their experience has been like for getting a month ahead or whatever the topic is that I'm teaching on.
Love that. Yeah. So if you have a story
really
that you think
appreciate
would
those
inspire
stories.
people, check the description for a link to a form and fill that out for us. So we sure would appreciate it.
All right. Thanks again, folks, for sticking with us for another episode. We'll see you in 2 more weeks.
All right. Thanks.